All right, greetings everyone. NoZoupForYou here, and I have a special guest. I've got sub Octavian here today, also known as Phil. Phil, how do you pronounce your last name? I don't want to butcher it.
Well, you will butcher it no matter how you try, because it's quite difficult. It's Molotkovets.
Molotkovets. Was that close? Close.
Pretty
All right.
close, yeah.
Pretty close. All right, that's a work in progress. So I've got Phil, sub Octavian here, and Phil, can you just kind of give us your official position with Wargaming?
Yeah, team lead of game analysis.
Team lead of game analysis. So what exactly does that entail?
So my team works closely with business intelligence, who do numbers and stats, and with research, who do some kind of surveys and so on. We work closely with community and developers to ensure there is connection between developers and active core community, to make sure that community concerns are properly voiced and heard in development. So we kind of chaining link between these.
Very nice, very nice. So how long have you been working for Wargaming now?
Oh, I'm afraid to say it's like 4 years.
4 years. Okay. Wow. Congratulations. That's a fairly long time. So, have you been with Warships from the very beginning?
Yeah, Warships was my first and the only project in Wargaming, and Wargaming is my first job in game development. I joined World of Warships as a community manager for CIS region. Then I took over Supertest and actually helped to create Supertest for World of Warships. And then I got this position inside development team.
Gotcha. So, yeah, it's been a little while since we've talked. I know you acted as my translator during the Let's Battle event up in New York, so it was exciting talking to both you and Dasha. How is Dasha coming along with her game-playing abilities?
Well, I'm not sure about game-playing abilities. Overall, she seems fine and happy, but I don't think we actually will see her stats grow unicum pretty soon. I think she has pretty much to learn.
She's still got a little ways to go.
Yeah.
Now I also heard that she is learning English. Is that true? And how's that coming along?
Sorry?
I heard that she is learning English, the English language.
Yeah, we just try to make some kind of experiment for that, so that she can record her stuff without translating. But it's very difficult to learn from scratch, so it's not going as quick as we hoped initially.
Well, I'll be honest. I don't think the community is bothered by that at all. I have no issues with the translator speaking in English over her, so I don't think that's that big of a deal.
Yeah, but it helps in the modern world anyway, so it's good. It's good skill, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
So, do you yourself have a favorite ship line?
Oh, my favorite ship line. Okay, so I think I just kind of evolved into high tier player. I not very good, not at all good with carriers yet, but I really enjoy all the classes, and currently I don't think I have a really favorite line. I think I just try to play all my tier 10 ships more or less equally, depending on the mood, but I enjoy all of them. Actually, I look forward to mastering carriers, but probably I'm not very good in strategy, so.
Yeah, for carriers, I cannot help you at all. You'll have to talk to iChase about that. He's the resident carrier guru. So you don't have a favorite ship line. Do you have a favorite ship at the moment right now?
No. I think I'm just very much enjoying my tier 10 collection, and I love all tier 10 ships I currently own, and I look forward to the new lines. So I think I shifted my perception. Well, I used to have some favorite lines and favorite ships before, but now I shifted my perception to playing on particular tier with different ships. So that brings me much variety and allows me to enjoy game more.
Okay, so you don't necessarily have a favorite ship line, but you've got a favorite tier at the moment, and tier 10 is it's working out pretty good for you then, huh?
Yeah, when I entered the tier, I think I was frightened by quite passive meta, but it improved after the economy changes when you don't have to pay for repairing your ships. Depending on the damage you got, you pay the fixed price, and actually we see some improvements in dynamics of high tier play, and I personally see it as well. I'm well aware that there are different metagames on different servers, and probably on Russian server people tend to brawl more, to be more aggressive, or sometimes to think less about their strategy. So perhaps the fun factor on high tier can vary from server to server. But on Russian server, I really enjoy this tier right now.
That's what I heard. I heard you all are brawlers with your battleships. I like that. I like that a lot. So, all right, let's move on to some more serious items and things that the community might be wondering about. A little while ago, I brought up the topic of power creep, and while I haven't really come to a clear-cut decision if there is or isn't power creep, in your opinion, do you think there is a little bit of power creep, or do you think things are kind of even and level right now?
Yep, I see I think there is some kind of power creep, and actually I play lots of computer games and board games, and I see that power creep is actually a very common thing in game design generally. It is inevitable to some extent because, you know, in case with World of Warships, our core players expect each release, each new line, each new ship to be powerful or to have some gimmick to entertain them. So it's very difficult sometimes to meet these expectations, and sometimes due to that balancing some ships really seem more powerful or more interesting in terms of options and features. On the other hand, we do realize that to keep the metagame healthy, we need to work on previously released ships and lines, so you know they are competitive or viable at least. This is why we're changing old ships sometimes. If you watch the change logs closely from the very beginning of the game, you can see many tweaks and buffs to older ships, to USN and IJN lines. We're doing this because we understand that it's important to have variety, and so each ship is viable at least to some extent, and each ship should have some fan base who enjoys playing her.
Okay, so that's good then. That means you're not just going to leave other older classes behind. You're actually, as power creep does naturally happen, you're going to go back to the other lines and look at ways that you can kind of bring them up to being more balanced with the current ship lines that are coming out then.
Yep, this is what we're trying to do. Actually, that's a very interesting question because we had many releases, I mean ship releases from now on, and we tried slightly different approaches. And actually, when we release some line that is, you know, more balanced and less overpowered towards the older ships, players tend to dislike it, and they actually say, well, it's why I research it, why I play it, it's not interesting, it's midi-core and so on. So this is very challenging and interesting task to keep the balance between entertaining people with new stuff and not making it completely overpowered, and not to make older ships obsolete. That's the point.
So, and I've noticed, you mentioned keeping ships interesting. So we've got the French cruisers coming out now, and they've got the speed boost to them. So is that part of the whole keeping ships interesting thing? Looking for a way that you can make a particular ship line stand out from other ships. And do you know how the decision to add the speed boost for the French line came about?
Well, when we design ship line, we always try to support some kind of line concept with consistent gameplay throughout the line on all tiers as much as possible, because of course due to historical period of the game, each line consists of ships from different eras, and they just cannot have absolutely identical gameplay. It's impossible due to technical differences and so on. But we try to stick with some kind of line concept, some kind of gameplay, which will be like, you know, a special sign of a special feature of the line. So speed boost for a cruiser we thought it was a nice addition, which allow you for more initiative, more control over the battlefield, to change your flanks. But we actually, during the testing of the cruisers, we felt that this feature was not strong enough, so we decided to actually make the speed boost even better compared to normal destroyer speed boost, and I think we're pushing it even better for high tier French cruisers.
Okay, so in your own opinion, what do you feel makes a ship or a ship line balanced? What are you looking for?
Well, there's always, a triangle of data. It's our own developer impressions and our vision for the game. It is player feedback, of course, and it's settled statistics. When I'm saying settled, I mean that statistics that is actually collected just uh, just about the line is released. It's not very accurate because people tend to skip low tier ships to high tier. There's not consistent experience, and the player base is not settled. But when several weeks or months pass, we can gather statistics properly, see the numbers, and well, they are more representative as data. So there is this triangle of three sources of data: our own vision, player feedback, and stats. And we try to look at them equally. But of course, our impressions and player feedbacks are more subjective, and statistics is more objective. But the point is that we're making a game for living creatures, for humans, and there are emotions and subjective stuff involved, so we cannot ignore the feedback in favor of statistics. We should just, combine these sources of data to improve the game.
So then there is a balance too, not only in the ships themselves, but in the actual data that you have regarding the ship. So it's all used. You don't favor one more than the other. That triangle is an important part of making a ship balanced, and I imagine that probably goes for determining whether or not a ship is overpowered as well, right?
Yeah, but actually, I think the interesting point about overpowered ships that people tend to be more precise and more correct about overpowered ships than about underpowered ships. So player feedback probably is more representative when we're talking about overpowered ships. But of course, numbers matter greatly there as well. Well, for example, Minotaur as a bad example. I mean, when initial feedback is not very accurate, when Minotaur is widely considered overpowered ship, actually, but in reality is very situational. But her peak moments, when she's showing her peak performance, they are easily remembered by players and developers as well, of course, because we play the game as you do. And so these peak moments create this impression that the ship is overpowered. But statistics actually shows that it is situationally overpowered, and
Well, the
she has
same goes for
weaknesses.
the
Yeah.
yeah. The same goes for the Zao as well, right? That's kind of a very similar ship to the Minotaur, right?
No, I think Zao is much more consistently powered ships because she can show very nice performance in more situations than Minotaur. So her performance is better in more cases. I mean, when you have very good battle and very nice statistics, or when you have unlucky bad battle, anyway, Zhao probably will be performing quite good. So Zhao is an example probably of overpowered ship. But actually, when we removed stealth firing option, we were happy to see that actually this was the only ship that at least got more imbalanced after this change. And I think
Oh wow.
it's good that this is why actually we did not introduce any buffs to Zhao, because we realized that stealth firing removal would hurt her performance, but actually this should be done because now she is more in line with other tier 10 cruisers, and we probably are buffing, maybe you know, maybe you don't know, we're buffing high tier German cruisers. We are probably buffing Des Moines a bit more in terms of deck armor. We are trying to make them all balanced, but now with Zhao not overperforming as much as she used to, it's easier process because now we can just the gap between these ships got smaller, and this is a good thing actually for the balancing.
Now, part of that balance also goes into determining overall. I mean, in the hands of a good player, the Zao will do really good. But in the hands of an average player, is there any benefit to a ship like Zao or anything else? Or is that player still just going to play at their normal level?
Well, this is a question of like hands dependence, as we call it inside the studio. So we are building different graphs for ships in different cases, for top cases, for medium cases, and low cases. And ships that are more situational, well, if the ship is overpowered but situational, like Minotaur, as I said, she will have better statistics in terms of, well, good battles, but in case of bad battles, she would be dropping actually. And if ship is more average and more like workhorse, more balanced and all-rounded, it will have more consistent statistics and more even gaps between different cases. So this actually is a variety, and this is nice to have in the game. The challenge, however, is to ensure that players who actually start researching a line, they realize that, okay, this line has more strength, but they are situational and it is more skill demanding, and this line is more average and better suit some new players and so on. Because, well, I think it's very important to start actually for the player experience. It's very important to start from the right ships, because some ships without proper knowledge, they can discourage you from playing, but they will be pretty good if you have some experience already.
And I just threw the Zal out there. I don't even know why. That was really just the first ship that came to my mind when I was thinking about fairly powerful tier 10 ships. There's also the Khaborovsk.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I have heard that there's going to be a little nerf coming to that ship, and that players do say it's overpowered. What is your opinion on that particular ship?
She's overpowered. People are blaming that we had to that we buffed the HE alpha damage, but we had to do it for consistency for the Soviet line, and we didn't realize that we will have to nerf Haba anyways. And now we are nerfing rudder shift time. I'm not sure that this will be enough. We'll see about how it actually works out. But our concept of nerfing Khabarovsk is to making her more situational, making her less, universal ship, just like a case example of Zao and Minotaur. So her strength is combat from maximum distance, because her main protection is her speed. So when you are pouring fire from the maximum distance and you are on full throttle, maybe on speed boost, you are very difficult to hit, and you can actually deal pretty good damage. But when we nerf rudder shift, it makes Haba weaker in close combat, and this is a good thing, because each ship should have some weaknesses, or if it is universal, it shouldn't be so powerful. So this is why we're nerfing. We're trying to to drive it into direction of some more specific role, where it should stay excellent, but she should have weaknesses in other roles, something like this.
So that brings up another question just about nerfing and buffing in general. And I know, to determine if a ship's overpowered, obviously community feedback in the beginning, but really it's not until you actually get a lot of hard stats and data that you can look at that you can make a decision. Do you like to maybe tweak things more slowly, or do you prefer to just take care of it up front in the very beginning when you either nerf or buff a ship?
Well, it really depends. Sometimes we cannot just do our work with mathematical balance and ignore the community, because people are going to get upset or happy, and we have to account for that, because we're making game for real people, not for some robots. So sometimes we have to be more careful and take easier steps, and sometimes on the contrary, we think, okay, we have to do this, and if we do this in little bits, this will only upset players more, but it has to be done, so let's just deal with it at once. So it really depends on the situation.
off the top of your mind, are there any ships that the community has said that are extremely overpowered or underpowered, whereas you have the statistics to actually say, no, this ship is actually operating quite the way we want it to?
Well, I think I gave an example of Minotaur,
Minotaur. Yep.
and it's funny because you know it also depends on player experience. For example, when we released actually the UK cruisers, we had to change many things in the process to tweak many things, and the initial reception was that, well, they're not going to be powerful at all. They're very strange, no HE and so on. But then when people actually tried the line and researched some ships and had some battles, well, they actually acknowledged that the line is pretty good. It's interesting, it has its own features, own character, and it is good. So there are many cases, and it's very important to understand that without player feedback, our own intuition and statistics is not possible to keep balance. So it's all about this triangle of listening to all sources of data and taking them into account. This is what helps you to actually to tune the balance of the game.
Okay, let's talk about premium ships a little bit. I know a while back players thought, and I'm going back to the closed beta testing and beyond, that the original goal with premium ships was that they would never be more powerful than their in-tier counterparts. And I don't think anyone can prove that was actually said or that was put in writing. Can you just give your own view and Wargaming's view on what premium ships should be? Should they be more powerful? Should they be less powerful or equal in power to ships of their tier? Or are premiums just premium ships? They're going to be made to how you and the community wants them to be made, regardless of the regular non-premium ships.
Well, in terms of game balance, premium ships are pretty much should be like researchable ships. I mean, they don't have to be worse, they don't have to be better, they should be more or less in balance, just like regular ships. But there are actually two peculiar moments here. First one is that we have to take into account that a premium ship can be purchased by a completely new player who does not have any experience in the game. And the second one, of course, that premium ship is normally paid for with real money. So while we don't have any official ruling that actually prevents us from nerfing them, we don't do that, as you probably know. We try to avoid this at all costs, and if some ship becomes more overpowered, well, we probably will stop selling it and just make it obsolete by this from the game, not by nerfing, because, well, we have some kind of responsibility here. And on the other hand, nothing is set in stone, and this is why, for example, when we remove stealth firing, premium ships actually were affected as well, because we cannot just, exclude them from balancing the whole game. That would be actually, I think that would be a very stupid thing to do. On the other hand, when we see that premium ship needs some tweaking, some buffing, we do this as well. So we don't stick to, the idea that premium ships should be set in stone, and actually it works for player benefit as well, because yes, we sometimes can change premium ships along with the game, like we did with stealth firing. On the other hand, we don't refuse to buff premium ships when we see that there is need to do it. So I think this is our internal stance from a point of view of game design.
Okay, so premium ships. Do you have a favorite premium ship?
I wish I could actually play some tier 10 premium, but apart from it, I think my current favorite premium ships is Scharnhorst, because it allows much brawling. It's very fun to play. It's some kind of hybrid between cruiser and battleship with very decent protection, with secondary build, and I actually love secondary builds on battleships.
Oh, me too.
So I guess this is my favorite premium ship right now. But I'm really looking forward to seeing the Italian guy in action as well.
Yes, she is a very, very fun ship. Very fast. I like the D'Aosta a lot.
Yeah.
So it's interesting you brought up a Scharnhorst because that's a lower tiered premium ship, and obviously you all have said there's going to be no tier 10 premium ships, which Musashi's still out there. I know a lot of people want that. Is tier 10 premium something that you all might come back to at some point and release either how Missouri was released, something similar to that?
I'm not saying there won't be any premium ships of higher tiers. I'm just saying there are not these ships in game right now, except for Tier 9 Missouri. And by the way, we pretty much like this experiment, and we probably will elaborate on this experiment more in the future. We can do this, actually. I'm not sure about the method of purchase. There are much to be actually discussed. Probably there were more ways to distribute these ships, but it's not like there is no rule that actually is set in stone that prohibits us completely from doing it. We're just focused on the other things right now.
Very nice. So again, going back to the Scharnhorst being kind of a mid-tier ship, right now a lot of players feel that when matchmaking was revised, the middle tiers got hit very hard, like tiers 5 and 6. Are there any plans to tweak matchmaking again to kind of make those middle tiers a little more approachable and just a little easier in the grind?
Well, they definitely got hit. It's pointless to object to this. I can say that they suffered some drop in top tier battles. Yeah, so when they're highest tier in the battle, I can say that according to statistics, the difference between tier 5 and tier 6 ships being on the bottom and on the top is like, I don't know, 10 or 20%. It depends on the server, on the exact tier, and on the other conditions. But I mean, they got hit. The gameplay got more challenging, but it's not like that they are playing only with higher tiers all the time.
Right.
They are getting to the top, but well, the conditions actually got more difficult. On the other hand, the life of low-tier ships, which mostly for new players, and the life of quite demanding in terms of skill and challenging upper tiers got a little bit better. So the comfort zone for players, I think, shifted towards tier 7 and tier 8 more. And on the other hand, we got population of tier 10 ships growing, and this is why now tier 8, for example, they are starting to be up-tiered. Yeah, this is the right word, up-tiered, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, up-tiered. Yep.
they're starting to get into tier 10 battles more. Well, this is a very delicate matter, because on the one hand there's a matter of comfort, and well, I want to play my tier 5 ships as I used to, and so on and so on. On the other hand, it's a matter of player progression, of player population moving to higher tier, which is good for the game, because we don't want people just, to stay only on low tier and play only there, because there's so much more opportunities, more ships, and more consumables and more interesting stuff on high tier. On the other hand, we don't want to push them, by force there. So it's a very, very complex matter, and right now we don't have any, immediate plan to change matchmaking, because we see the feedback, of course, about tier 5 and 6 matchmaking. On the other hand, we see the numbers, and yes, there is difference. Yes, things have changed, but as I said, the difference is not like 50%, the difference is less, and this is not an emergency situation, and actually the population of players that are getting to tier 7 and 8 more may be beneficial for the game, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. On the other hand, we know that some players want to have fun on their respective tiers, and we will keep monitoring the situation and try to do our best to preserve their gameplay that they enjoy.
Okay. And speaking about gameplay, I know one of the biggest gripes right now, and even myself included, some players feel that standard battle isn't really conducive to exciting battles or gameplay, and kind of promotes a bland game style. Are there any plans to remove it or tweak it or make it a little more exciting?
Oh, don't get me wrong when I say it, but unfortunately the standard battle is there because there is a very noticeable bunch of players who, according to our research, enjoy this mode. I don't think many people in the studio actually enjoy standard battle, but there are really a bunch of players who are telling us that they want this mode, and we are not removing it because we think that domination suits better, but on the other hand, standard battle is not that bad when the bases are close to each other, because when they're distance, well, this leads to more passive gameplay, to more defensive tactics, which is
Yep.
bad. When they are close to each other, well, this works better. And we are planning to remove standard battles from several maps probably in the future. We also may be tweaking this bases location on the remaining maps, so we do plan to improve the situation, but we cannot just cut it off, unfortunately,
Right.
because this is going to be upsetting for a very noticeable bunch of players, and we have to actually to take their interests into account as well.
That being said, bases being close to each other. One of the new maps, and the name is escaping me. It's the Ireland map that domination. It's kind of a diamond shaped. I really love that map right now. It really promotes fast gameplay in higher tiers, and it's just really conducive to fighting. So that in my opinion is how I like maps to be. So good job on that one.
Thank you. We'll try to do this because we know that actually more active gameplay is good. But as I said before, with numerous balance decisions, we have to take into account the opinions of players and their feelings about certain features. So I won't share the numbers, but I can say that if we just cut it off, it would be really Rage Storm, much bigger comparing to Stealth Fire removal, for example.
Oh wow! So that many
Yeah.
people are passionate about it.
Yep.
That's good to
So
know.
it's probably World of Tanks influence because many players actually overlap and they play World of Tanks as well. Depending on the region, the proportion is different, but well, we have quite lots of people playing both projects and they got used to such mode. So probably this is the source of their interest in this mode. But we are trying to cut it off slowly and to improve the remaining scenarios where it is present.
So speaking about game modes, a little further about game modes. Are there any plans to introduce new game modes in the near future, and can you discuss what they might be?
We'd like to introduce more modes for PvP, and Bastion was clearly an experiment, which well was a lesson for us. We removed it, but we learned our lesson there. We want to try other ideas, and we have some ideas in the progress. But right now we are working on PvE. So this will be completely different mode, but not for regular battles. It will be a separate game mode. Actually, there's a difference between game mode and game scenario. Game mode is
Right.
something you're choosing in the menu, and scenario is a combination of map and conditions that you are actually facing in the game mode. So let's talk about scenarios. We want to add new scenarios, not Bastion, because Bastion is gone for now and should be actually reworked. But we have some other ideas for scenarios, and right now we are working on a completely new mode for PvE. So this is our priority, and I hope that you will see some results of our work pretty soon.
That's exciting. That's exciting. I can't imagine what they might be. I know a lot of people are hoping for convoy type stuff. But you brought something also up about scenarios and conditions for winning. And is that also something that you all are looking at adding into regular PvP battles? That during one scenario, it might be to sink a capital ship or something like that. Are these things you're looking at?
There are some ideas, and probably uh, releasing some new PvE mode will be a very useful experiment for PvP future development as well. But as I said, our main priority right now is to release PvE properly because there's lots of work there, and we cannot just do our meta game, our game mode team cannot do all this at the same time.
Well,
Like just the
that's
priorities.
that's good though, because I would imagine PvE is a very good way to experiment with these things without affecting individuals' PvP statistics and which people
Absolutely.
like to guard usually. So cool. Speaking about team play, you mentioned your team, but teams in general. I personally enjoyed team gameplay. I thought the battles were neat. The queue times, obviously, the higher in rank your team got, weren't that conducive to getting in there and playing. I think a lot of people feel like it was kind of abandoned. Is there a chance that team battles might make a comeback in some way, shape, or form, or are these being totally replaced by clans?
This is an open question for now. As with many questions about the developing world of warships, it is a question of priority, and as I said, right now our priority is PvE and clans.
Okay.
Also, yeah, I can mention clans also, and clearly team battles have potential, but clearly our first implementation that you tried, it had lots of drawbacks, and it should be really thoroughly worked on to be viable, to be really viable, to be really popular. So we just can't do all this at the same time. Right now we need to release PvE content and clan content, and of course within the clan content we suppose there will be some kind of team versus team gameplay. So you know, they can be embodied in different form, uh, not necessarily with the same concept, but we want to have team versus team gameplay inside the game. This is for sure.
Okay. And speaking of clans, what direction are clans going to go in? Can you kind of bring up any future implementations that you're going to put into clans and the ultimate direction where that's going?
Well, as for this question, I'm afraid I cannot say any more than I already said numerous times about the clans. And what I can repeat this for those who missed it. So our proposed stages of clan developments are social, which is already done. Like creating a clan as a entity inside the game, recruiting people, and so on. Now, the second stage is in development, in active development right now. It is kind of a casual clan gameplay where you can, just team up with your buddies, with your clan mates, and do something together. Not very hardcore, but to do something useful, without very, you know, obligatory involvement. Like, for example, not like global maps from World of Tanks, not like this. More casual stage. And after this, we would like to expand on team versus team gameplay. And after this, we would like to expand on to some kind of strategic meta gameplay, like World of Tanks global map with diplomacy, with alliances, politics, and so on.
Oh, very cool. That
And
sounds exciting.
that's a huge roadmap,
Yeah.
and we don't expect it to be intact because things can be changed in the process. This is why we split it into several stages. And as soon as we release stage 2 with this casual, as I call it, casual clan gameplay, we'll see what players are waiting for, what they want, and what the feedback on the stage will be, and we'll see how it changed the roadmap. But the whole concept, well, I just told you the whole concept, the
Yep.
clans for now.
Yes, and thank you. And that kind of brings up something that I just one of my little pet peeves. And you mentioned, linking up with other people in your clan and jumping in a game. One of the things that I've noticed right now and feel is kind of a shortcoming in Warships is you have good ability to connect with other players while you're in port. However, if you're actually in game, there is no way for people to message you and say, hey, I want to link up with you after this game is done. Are there any plans to bring an in game messaging system so that you can contact someone that's in game and let them know that, hey, I'm waiting, or something to that effect?
Well, not that I actually am aware of 100% of all features that are in development right now, but I don't remember such feature. I'll definitely ask about it when I have a chance. Our UI team, and get back to you if there are some different answer, you'll update, I think, your information. But
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it right now.
Absolutely, yeah, and I know that's more of a development side of things, which you're apart from, but that's just one thing that I would love to see because, you've got a buddy playing and they've just started a battle. That's a 20-minute wait, and if they've got no idea that you're waiting for them in port or you've started another game, you can wind up, going a fairly long time before you actually link up with them and can division. So. Yeah, that's one thing I'd love to see. But
Well, you made it clear, and it's good feedback. I'll do this. I'll investigate. Just give me some time for that because
no, no,
I cannot
no
catch
rush.
everything.
No, you got a lot going on. So, with that being said, the future of Warships, what has Sub Octavian really, really excited right now?
Yep, so you were talking about personal opinion right now.
Yeah.
Okay, personal opinion is for me it is PvE because I did manage to play several co-op multiplayer games, other titles I mean, and with my friends, and it was very very enjoyable experience to team up with my buddies and to overcome some kind of evil artificial intelligence to solve problems. I mean some pretty huge impressions from co-op games, from Grand Theft Auto for example with co-op mode, from Division co-op mode, very intense interesting moments, and many other games as well. So seeing the similar concept in World of Warships would be very exciting for me personally. I don't know how far it will go. I am not sure right now, but I know that. Well, I definitely know that there's lots of players in World of Warships who actually play cooperative mode and who would be very happy if we expand this mode. So I think I'm not the only one who actually is waiting for cooperative mode with some proper gameplay different from standard PvP. This is what I'm personally excited about. And the second thing is probably, new visuals, because we have some plans for that. And I upgraded my PC finally, and I'm ready. My PC is ready for more explosions and more kabooms.
So though that little video released of actual gunfire coming off of the ships from the ships' cannons, that might be making its way here very shortly.
Yep, this video was just I don't know how to call it, sneak peek, like
Yep, yep.
very little of what we're doing. We're doing well. I don't want you to be overhyped for no reason, but I think it's like an overhaul of all effects in the game, all effects, with adding dynamic sources of light and additional animations, very nice explosions, very nice visuals. We are working on it very intensively, and I think if everything goes fine, if it passes all necessary performance tests, because it shouldn't be dropping your FPS, of course it should be smooth. I think it is coming in the near future.
Oh, very nice. That is exciting because people love explosions. So, um, we see that High School Fleet, the collaboration there is coming out fairly soon, and that's one of the reasons I brought up Musashi earlier because that features very prominently in High School Fleet. Can you talk a little more about that collaboration? Is there anything you want us to know about it aside from that? And are there any other collaborations coming out in the near future after High School Fleet?
Well, this is one of the questions probably I'm not feeling that I should elaborate on because it involves not only the studio but partners.
Secret, it's secret stuff, right?
Yes. So
Very secret.
I think I'll leave it to official announcements if you don't mind.
No, absolutely. No, I understand fully. So, but that means there is stuff out there then. If you
Yes.
gotta stay quiet. So there you go. More collaborations in the future. Very, very cool. So, what other future ship lines are you looking forward to seeing?
Well, I don't know about ship lines because if I start enumerating ship lines, I'm looking
People are
forward
gonna,
to.
yeah.
I,
People are
I
gonna
also,
start putting stuff together, and yeah, you can't go there. Um, I
yeah,
gotcha. I gotcha.
but I'm looking. Well, let me put it this way. I'm looking forward for some new nation as well. Not only new lines, but new nations, because new nations normally bring some new flavor, some unique features, some nice to play gimmicks, and so on. So I'm looking forward to it as well.
All right, and last question here: are there any little news drops or little tips you can give us about things coming in the near future that we might not already know that you can actually say?
Um, nope.
No.
I think actually, I think the team was mm, pretty rich with spoilers lately. We actually gave numerous hints and tips here and there, so just watch closely. You don't need me to guess about some of the upcoming stuff.
Yep, just go back and look what's already been put out and put two and two together, right? Very nice. Well, hey, Phil, it was great talking to you. And, again, it's been since November, so it was nice catching up with you. And hopefully you'll be back here stateside to do another event like Let's Battle, which was a lot of fun. But I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and, and through me talking to the community about a variety of things that have been on my mind and everyone else's. So, again, Phil, sub Octavian, I cannot thank you enough. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too, and you made actually it a very comfortable time for me because it's like 6 o'clock in Russia. It's a very good time to do anything. So thank you for choosing this time, and I hope if your readers or watchers or subscribers enjoy this, I think we can repeat it later. So thank you. I enjoyed it as well.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful evening, Phil. All right, are you happy with the way the dynamic music works right now? I mean, personally, I kind of miss the regular music we used to have. I thought the old way was pretty good, and I think a lot of people feel that the current dynamic music's kind of falling flat. What's your opinion on that?
Well, our opinion is that dynamic music system is quite interesting, but there are two things. First, it should be tweaked and tuned because it's not perfect, of course. So we'll be working on the system in the future updates. And the second is that we fully understand that there are some players who just want to stick with old music systems with fixed tracks and they want it, and well, they have their reasons. This is why we're working on an option to choose whether you want to have dynamic music or the old way music in the game.